Back in 2010, I was catching up on news and trailers from an upcoming Halo release when I saw this single Vidoc that would hook me on this game forever.
The first time I looked at Forge World and I was like, oh, hey, cool, that's... Oh, holy, you guys did what?
There's just way too much. You can't keep it all in your head at once.
It was so beyond our production capability. We were just like, that's crazy. We can't do that.
The map was huge.
The majority of the map.
Bigger than anything we've ever seen before. You could even change the color of the blocks and even the mongoose. Wait, mongoose? Mongooses? Oh wait, you could change the color of the Mongai as well. And is that an osprey? Wait, you're telling me Blood Gulch is also coming back?
A gulch, an island, an interior, a very small outdoor pocket, and then the rock, which was kind of...
10-year-old me was thinking, that's it, I'm gonna be playing Halo Reach forever. Forge World was an absolute game changer. But I ended up finding myself sinking far more time into matchmaking at the time. The Elites vs Spartans and Invasion, the shotgun spree-filled Infection, and the countless Forge World creations across the Big Team Battle playlist occupied my time a lot more. Not to mention Griffball, which, last I checked, Halo Infinite still doesn't have because that game hates democracy. What I ended up playing the least of somehow stuck out as the most memorable part of the entire game. Halo has long been renowned for its very high-quality single-player stories. Before Master Chief could make landfall on the rings and lead the UNSC to a happy ending, Halo lore was pretty grim. Humanity's greatest defeat is perhaps one of the best stories in all of Halo. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nikos. Let's talk about Halo Reach. I won't go too far back into the Halo lore as already you may know I kinda like it. I've already made a handful of iceberg videos and like 50 shorts on Halo lore, so go check those out if you need a recap. I'm gonna keep it concise. Humanity was locked in a brutal galactic war with the religiously devout Covenant. This confederation of multiple alien races was hell-bent on destroying humanity because their religious leaders said so. Since the fall of Harvest, humanity had been losing ground, but maintained a shot at victory thanks to their deployment of Spartan super soldiers and the clever naval and military tacticians who often outsmarted the Covenant on the battlefield as well as in space. The UNSC maintained the secrecy of the location of Earth as well as the inner colonies from the Covenant Empire. That is, until 2552, when the Human-Covenant War would become absolutely dire for humanity. The player character, Noble 6, is one of 6 rare Spartan 3s that make up Noble Team. Before I go on, I gotta say, being able to customize Noble 6 into whatever Spartan you want to play as is really awesome. Like, the fact that we haven't seen this again since Halo Reach is genuinely sad. This Black Ops team was deployed to Reach after a history of fighting the Covenant across numerous human worlds. Their mission? Bring the Visegrad communication relay back online and track down the missing army troopers who were sent to investigate before them. The UNSC did everything they could to keep the location of Reach a secret, and even Colonel Holland was holding out for hope, speculating that rebels were responsible for the suspicious events around the Visegrad relay.
So why would rebels want to cut off Reach from the rest of the colonies?
You got a chance, maybe you can ask him, George.
We know better though. Some of us even read the book. Covenant sabotage and scouting parties were on Reach. The unthinkable had occurred, and the UNSC was willing to go all in to preserve their stronghold world. A team of elite zealots was responsible for downing the relay, and though they were sent on the run by Noble Team, the Covenant invasion had barely just begun. One immediate stark contrast from Halo Reach to the previous titles is how gritty and grounded the art style is. The terrain is rugged, dry, and drab. The vehicles, armor, and other weapons of war appear scuffed, scratched, and pretty thoroughly beaten. Everything looks battle-tested and old. The color palette is dull and drab, as if the Saving Private Ryan filter was applied to the game's visuals. Once sleek designs are now complex and rugged. Perhaps the best example of the art style change is the assault rifle. It definitely looks like a precursor to the MA5B from the other games in the series, but with more archaic looking parts and bits and bobs. Even the usually bright and vibrant Covenant had been completely washed out and became far less cute and cuddly. They no longer spoke English, as, I mean, come on, they probably shouldn't have in the other Halo games anyway, and hit the gym like it was their 9 to 5. They even fought like it too. Elites were fierce, strong, and incredibly agile. Spartans could get snapped in half with a single melee from an elite. Sure, in the rest of the series, the elites have been pretty tough, but in Halo Reach, those guys are bastards on any difficulty above normal. They take to relentlessly pursuing players in firefights, especially when they're wounded. Needless to say, this prequel game was meant to be gritty and more realistic. This was necessary, as telling the tragic loss of one of Earth's most treasured planets in Halo 2's bright and joyous art style would have felt a bit off.
Damn.
Fill me in, Commander. What are you seeing? Over.
We've got military casualties, 2 of the missing troopers. Looks like they were interrogated. It's messy.
It appears a more gruesome take for Halo Reach may have been in the works in the past as well. Hidden models and textures in the game files reveal that at one point, gore and dismemberment may have been on the table in early development for this game, similar to Halo Combat Evolved. This makes sense considering the game is a little more bloody as far as Halo goes, and the mature war theme would have been well matched by gory battlefield wounds and fatalities. What I want to know is why the decision was made to remove it. Perhaps Bungie thought it was a bit overkill, or unnecessary to implement into the game. Halo Reach shows its true colors as a war story, rather than a power fantasy that we see in previous Halo titles. There's a forgotten feature in Halo Reach. In the campaign, troopers and marines around the player will occasionally squad up with Noble 6 and follow the player around. You can even see squatted up battle brothers on the bottom left by your radar. It's not a crazy in-depth mechanic, but it's the little things like this that are missing from modern Halo. Back when Halo was a war story, where the standard army troopers, ODSTs, and Marines share the spotlight alongside the Spartans. Another hidden detail in Reach that builds on this war narrative are the hidden radios and other radio conversations that you can tune in on and hear throughout the battlefield across radio devices and more. They share a really cool insight into the inner workings and the thoughts behind some of the soldiers as they were fighting and working together to stop the Covenant invasion.
Do you think the army showing up in Torpa is connected to the Visegrad hub going down?
Well, news feed said it was insurrectionists. But if you're looking to make a statement, why hit a remote place like Visegrad?
As the Covenant invasion begins in the second mission, Oni's sword base, through to the fourth act, Tip of the Spear, humanity held their ground. Hasty defensive actions from the Spartans, Navy, and regular army forces alike held the Covenant at bay. A Covenant corvette was putting immense pressure on sword base, and with Noble Team's assistance, the warship was sunk. The base was in tatters, but the UNSC held the line. The Spartans identified Covenant spires being set up for teleportation purposes, so a ground offensive was launched, and at a heavy cost of man and materiel, the first spire was destroyed.
This is Noble 1. Spire 1 is green and you're free to engage. Have a nice day.
Copy that, Noble 1. Be advised, all ground units. Frigate 318 Heavy is inbound, and MAC rounds have been authorized.
MAC rounds? In atmosphere?
One way to get their attention. Hang on to your teeth, people.
No, somebody tell me this ain't happening.
UNSC Frigate Grafton, do you copy?
Grafton is dust. We need to get out of here now.
The traditional setup of heroic victory began to appear shaky from this scene onwards. You can feel it all throughout the game. In the music, in the graphics, in the characters. Desperation was beginning to set in as small wins yielded painful losses immediately after. The Covenant supercarrier known as the Long Night of Solace had arrived. The Covenant invasion amplified tenfold. The ground offensive hit full swing as supermassive Scarab tanks lumber onwards outside of a cave Noble Team was forced to hide out in. Out of options, Cat, the brains of the squad, concocted a plan to engineer a starship's slipspace engine into a makeshift weapon of mass destruction. A teleportation bomb of sorts. Noble Team just needed a vehicle to get it to space.
A good place to look might be, I don't know, the nearest non-existent launch site in the non-existent Saber program dismissed by 3 administrations as preposterous rumor, and in which our newest member was certainly never a pilot.
You're scary. You know that.
This next mission is fantastic. From the beach assault to grab a saber, to the ensuing space battle we get to witness and partake in, this window into Halo naval conflict is a rare glimpse into one of the larger theaters that we rarely get to see in game. The UNSC Savannah, now lacking the ability to jump into slipspace, leads the charge on the UNSC's target. Sadly, we already know how a one-on-one ship battle with the Covenant typically goes.
Break off! Break off! Hull breach! Reactor's flaring! Damn it, I'm losing her!
Savannah Actual, can you hear me?
Frigate's gone, 6. Nothing we could do.
Still, it was enough to board the Corvette and get the bomb into place.
Distance is closing on this vessel's refueling track with the Covenant supercarrier. 76 seconds to endpoint.
So, it's gonna be like that. Well, I got good news and bad news. This bird took some fire and her thruster gimbal is toast, which means the only way off this slag heap is gravity.
And the good news?
That was the good news.
At current velocity, 53 seconds to endpoint.
Yeah. Bad news is, time is fried. I'm gonna have to fire it manually.
That's a one-way trip.
We all make it sooner or later. Better get going, 6. They're gonna need you down there. Listen, Reach has been good to me. Time has come to return the favor. Don't deny me this. Tell him to make it count.
George is the gentle giant of Noble Team, caring for and protecting grieving civilians alongside his squad. This was the only acceptable missing in action pipeline for the big man who, despite the biological alterations and genetic tampering he had undergone to become a Spartan, still maintained his humanity underneath it all.
Slipspace rupture detected.
Gamma station control, reading multiple pings below the orbital defense
Slipspace
grid.
rupture detected.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading
Slipspace
it?
rupture detected.
Multiple Covenant signatures.
Slipspace
Does anyone have a
detected.
They're everywhere!
Slipspace
Yeah,
rupture
must be
detected.
the whole damn Covenant fleet.
Slipspace rupture detected.
This scene is one of the most memorable in the entire game. One YouTube comment describes this scene best. This scene is pretty much the ultimate in "you're pretty fucked" situations I've ever seen in any fiction. It took a noble sacrifice that couldn't be replicated and rendered it completely meaningless. I will never forget that feeling of hopelessness. I'm sure the rest of the fanbase wouldn't forget it either. Halo Reach left a lasting impact from scenes like this. Kids and adults everywhere wanted the humans to make it out alright as usual. From this point onwards, the game's tone went from bitter to mournful. New Alexandria, once a proud capital city that towered into the clouds, was now the site of an earth-shattering tragedy. The loss of civilian life was immeasurable. Brutes were deployed in ground squads as urban combat berserkers, viciously slaughtering civilians and soldiers alike. Cut off from their squad, Noble Six moved in to assist the beleaguered defenders in their efforts to evacuate as many civilians as possible. Putting the players solo into an environment of absolute despair, with no Spartan allies, really puts them in the shoes of the fellow Marines and ODSTs around them, and helps them truly take the time to absorb their surroundings.
I've got 600 souls on board, Sergeant Major. I can't wait any longer.
Negative, Echo 2. I can't cover you. Do not take off.
Oh my god.
Mayday! Mayday!
B6 Echo 2. Can you maintain altitude?
Negative! We're going down!
Son of a bitch. I can't watch this.
Fox Actual, should we send search and rescue birds?
Negative, dispatch.
The Covenant fleet saw fit to melt the planet and cleanse it of human life. The atmosphere took on a glowing orange haze, with storms being kicked up by the intense heat generated from the glassing beams. Soot and dust choked the skies. Now, the narrative painted a picture of an apocalypse. Over half of the human navy was redeployed to save Reach. We would never see them enter the atmosphere. Reuniting with his squad, Noble Six meandered around New Alexandria, escorting and assisting the few remaining UNSC elements across the city.
It's good to have you back. Sorry I came alone. Make him proud.
One of which, by random chance, would be ODST Sergeant Buck from Halo 3 ODST. I guess this is what he was up to before the events of that game. Noble Team was left without orders. Communications were fried. The city was evacuated, and the Spartans were among all that remained.
Keep him. I gave him to you. I'll honor him my own way.
George always said he would never leave Reach.
The big man was sentimental.
He gave his life thinking he'd just save the planet. We should all be so lucky.
Sir, that true about Gauntlet Red and Echo teams assigned to civilian evac ops?
Those are senior level communiques.
I hear what I hear. Point is, why put Spartans on defensive deployments?
I need that link to SATCOM, Cat.
Chasing it. But this console's got more shrapnel in it than transceivers. You didn't answer my question.
You want to know if we're losing?
I know we're losing. I want to know if we've lost. Colonel Holland, hailing us. What's he doing on an open channel?
Let's hear it.
In the southwest quadrant of the city. Over. Sierra 259. If you are receiving, I am authorizing override of radio security protocols to link with this channel.
How long for a secure link?
I can't guarantee secure anymore.
Could Covenant trace it to us?
I could.
Noble Leader, this is a Priority 1 hail. If you are receiving, acknowledge immediately.
Keep it brief.
Carter here. Yes, sir.
We got movement. Multiple Covenant vehicles vacating the area. And they're in a hurry.
How often you see Covenant retreat for no reason?
Radiation flare. Big. 40 million root guns.
Just lost Holland. What's going on?
Atomic excitement scrambled the signal. 90 million now.
Source?
Airborne. Close.
How close?
That close! First glassing? Me too. Don't worry, I'm on it. Our best option is a fallout bunker on sub-level 2. 96 meters northeast. We get orders from Holland, sir?
We're being redeployed to Sword Base.
Sword? Covenant own it now!
Which is why they want us for a torch and burn op. Keep Dr. Halsey's excavation data from falling into enemy hands.
If it hasn't already.
Maybe, but according to Holland, the Covenant are still hunting for something.
Where does he get off calling a demolition a Priority 1?
Come on, get in!
Let's go, come on!
The war had quite literally taxed the planet to a breaking point, with the atmosphere being set completely ablaze by now, and the sea levels began rising due to the extraordinary extent of the glassing campaign as it melted glaciers and cities alike. The mentions of a UNSC rescue fleet had pretty much gone forgotten by now. We've reached peak despair. The Covenant fleet had become so overwhelmingly powerful that not even humanity's main fleet or their invincible Spartans are enough to stop them. Easily, Kat's death was the saddest in the entire game. The way she went out mid-sentence was outright disrespectful. This had children crying. No. This had men crying too. The city was destroyed. The planet was being melted around them. Noble Team was facing down a Covenant invasion with nowhere to go and nothing left to fight for. Then, a twist in Reach's fate. Dr. Catherine Halsey found something under the frosty glaciers of Sword Base. A Forerunner ship, an ancient alien artifact that held a secret that served as humanity's very last chance for survival. Somehow, victory may still be salvageable from the ashes of the planet. It held the coordinates to a Forerunner weapon of some kind, and Noble Team redeployed to Sword Base and navigated their way through the Covenant-held ruins. Halsey passes Cortana, her new artificial intelligence, along with the coordinates to this Forerunner weapon, to Noble 6.
And she has chosen you as her couriers.
Chosen? By an AI?
By this AI, yes. Her measure of you carries as much weight as my own, perhaps more. You are to take her to the UNSC shipbreaking yard in Azad. There you'll find a Halcyon-class cruiser waiting to get her off-planet.
I understand.
Do you? Mankind is outmatched. When Reach falls, and it will fall, our annihilation is all but certain. Unless we can glean from this artifact a defense against the Covenant. A game-changer.
Cortana chose 6 as her courier. His task was to take her to the UNSC Pillar of Autumn. The Halo 3 Cortana leitmotif, played out by the piano in this segment, it does things to you, man. Docked in the Azad shipbreaking yards, the Autumn waits in dry dock for Noble Team and Cortana, as well as any humans that are, trying to not die on Reach. June is ordered to escort Halsey to safety, and pieces out for the rest of the entire game. Emil, Noble 6, and Carter deploy alone. This flight would not be an easy one. Reach was now Covenant airspace. Banshees immediately intercepted Noble's Pelican and wounded Carter at the pilot seat because he didn't get the memo that damage to the vehicles in Halo immediately transfer that damage to the driver. Or maybe the Banshees hit them head on. I prefer the first explanation more though. This is Noble Team's final mission. It's a very surreal level. A long, emotional, taxing journey fraught with sacrifice and destruction had come to a grand finale. The soundtrack played the same leitmotifs that symbolized Planet Reach, this time in feverishly high pitches that sound almost ghostly. Noble pushed their way through active Covenant deployment zones, bobbing and weaving around scarabs on a pair of Mon-Gai.
Mother! We can get past this, sir.
No, you can't. Not without help.
Commander, you don't have the firepower.
I've got the math.
Solid copy. Hit him hard, boys.
You're on your own, Noble. Carter out.
Crevice to the east. Let's go.
It was now up to 6 and Emil. The two breached the Covenant lines and reached the Autumn, Emil manning a Mac cannon to keep Covenant ships at bay.
Who's next? I'm ready! How about you?
What was likely the same zealots that we encountered in the Visegrad relay and that had killed Kat were back, and 6 was completely alone. In this moment, Captain Keyes offered 6 a spot on the Autumn, but the unfortunate arrival of a Covenant carrier dashes their hopes. Noble 6 was the Autumn's only shot of survival. One final Mac round, and what was left of the UNSC left Reach, leaving Noble 6 behind with the entire Covenant fleet.
is the Pillar of Autumn. We're away. And the package is with us.
Me, I'm just happy to have Noble back up to full strength. Just one thing, I've seen your file, even the parts the Oni sensors didn't want me to. I'm glad to have your skill set. But we're a team. That lone wolf stuff stays behind. Clear?
Got it, sir.
The final epilogue scene, Lone Wolf, is iconic. Not just because of the meme, but also because it's downright heartbreaking. The way it says, there will be another time in the bottom left. Oh man, we already know this is how it's gonna end. 6 was this close to being saved, and we can only imagine what Chief and Noble 6 could have done together on the first Halo ring. But that's not our reality. We've seen the intro cutscene. We know exactly where this is heading. Come on, we've already cried enough. No more, please. Damage taken in this epilogue is permanent. Your visor cracks under gunfire, disabling HUD elements. You are left in eerie silence, surrounded by a graveyard of dead Spartans and what is left of their weapons, as Covenant patrols wander about until they find you. This is very reminiscent of a lot of scenes from Halo Combat Evolved where there's not a human voice within earshot, and here you will feel just as isolated. Halo Reach is a very special entry to the Halo franchise. It is Bungie's final love letter to the Halo series. Knowing this makes the final chapter in Lone Wolf even sadder, especially considering we never really got another Halo game of this caliber. One of the most awe-inspiring war stories is the heroic last stand, a noble sacrifice for the preservation of a belief system or survival as supplies and manpower is sucked dry. These stories are how legends are born. The tales of soldiers making a bold sacrifice to hopefully give their compatriots a fighting chance in the future is one that connects with absolutely everyone at their very core. The heroic last stand is often romanticized in pop culture. The 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, the Alamo. There are numerous examples of historical last stands that have gone on to influence culture and form identities. It's no surprise that Halo Reach has such a lasting impact on Halo fans, especially because of how well written the lore and universe was back in the first releases. Before I wrap up this video, I wanted to talk about Halo Reach's multiplayer. Now, when it comes to the multiplayer, it is really interesting in that it carries the theme and tone of the campaign from Halo Reach. Between Invasion and Elite vs. Spartan Firefight, the players are pit into two teams, Elites on one side and Spartans on the other, before duking it out. These matches almost feel like they're canonical. It's kind of immersive in that it kind of feels like another battle that could have happened on Reach that Noble Team just wasn't around for. Couple that with the armory that uses, for its progression currency, credits, which is the canonical currency of the Halo universe, and other details and trinkets scattered throughout the game, and you have the recipe for a cohesive, solid war story. Considering Halo Reach is such a fan favorite, I'm very shocked that for some reason modern Halo in the past 12 years has failed to get any significant spin-offs or prequels, and also has not strayed from the Master Chief in storytelling. Now, while the Master Chief is a fan favorite and obviously an awesome character, I'm just shocked, like, where is that Marine-based Halo game? Where's ODST 2? Maybe we could have gotten a Covenant-based Halo game where you play as the Covenant. Or we could have gotten the Flood-based horror game, which has been just something fans have been asking for a long time, and would literally pay hand over fist just to get it made. It's a genuine head-scratcher that Halo just has failed completely to create a compelling narrative through a side story outside the Chief. But we see in Halo Reach, we know that spin-offs and prequels are perfectly viable stories and can generate a lot of interest in a franchise. Halo Reach was the best spin-off we could have asked for. It offers an unmatched, depressing vibe. Halo Reach is a perfect example of the importance of spin-offs and how they can tell a new angle of a fan-favorite story and also be a perfect send-off for the original developers behind it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to the patrons and the channel members for supporting this channel, as always. If you'd like to support the channel further, check out the Patreon or consider becoming a member. You'll get bonus videos and more. See ya.
Were you giddy as when you saw Captain Keyes when you first played this?
I wasn't very giddy. I never really cared for his character, but I was surprised. But now I think his character is really good. Because when I was
remember.
a kid, I didn't really...
I didn't even know who the motherfucker was, bro. Because I remember I played CE, but I didn't know it was like Captain Keyes. I was like, "Who is this
guy?" You're kidding me. You're kidding
bro.
me. Like,
imagine, dude. Imagine if Bungie did have like a secret ending though, where like if you survived long enough, like you did get out.
I should have put that.
Wouldn't be canon, but that would be cool.
That would be cool. Like if you manage to survive and kill like 100 elites, it's like,
yeah,
it shows Noble Six like walking away, like,
dude, fuck yeah,
rifle.
Dude,
It's like,
yeah. Fucking would love that.
With a guitar solo,
dude,
and like he looks off to his left, there's like a bunch of ships and glassing going on, and there's dust on it, and he looks to his right and he sees a cave entrance, and he just walks into the camera and it ends right there.
Bro.
Wouldn't that just be
sick? That.
Yeah, no.
Oh, ammo counter.
Oh, no, I got the AR. You know I'm done. You know I'm cooked. I ran out of DMR, ran out of...
It's fitting because that's what he uses in the cutscene.
Yeah.
No wonder he fucking died. He had the AR.
Yeah. He could have lasted forever, but he had the AR, yeah.
Dude, like the music here, like everything's all death. Dude. Yeah, bro.
No, this ending is genuinely beautiful, and you can't see your face.
Yep.
I think I saw like someone, I think General Heed viewed it. He broke out of the camera and he saw that Noble Six was just headless in this entire fight.